GearNetwork.com.
This is a Gear Network production.
I am the greatest. The greatest.
JC Money.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to the JC Money Show, uncensored, here on the Gear Radio Network. How's it going, everybody? Welcome, return to the air here for TJCMS. My name is John Cimino, a.k.a. JC Money. I'm here with you. And as always, this is sponsored by the Holiday Store at GearNetwork.com. That's G-E-R-E network.com/holiday. We're approaching Halloween. You can get all your Halloween goodies still delivered to you, including costumes. They got them. Amazon has it. Click on the Amazon banner for the Halloween shop, or go down a little farther. You see Santa sitting there? He's sitting there. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sakes, and go to GearNetwork.com/holiday. All right, commercial free today, as always, for the JC Money Show. It's kind of how I roll with this brand, this particular show. Commercial free. So, Nickel City Wrestling happened, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really know what day it was starting, or what day that it was going to go. It was this past weekend, and I was sent the card. Somebody from backstage took a picture of the actual card and sent it to my contact before the show began, and then I got sent. It was sent to me, and the first thing that, those people were like was, "Hey, you should spoil it. You should spoil it. I think it'd be funny." Ha ha ha. But come on now, I'm not really going to do that. There wasn't going to be very many people there anyways. Chances are the people that were there, that were in attendance, are not following me. And besides, I don't know. I think it's a little silly. I wouldn't have done it anyways. But even if I didn't like absolutely hated them, I wouldn't have done it. Because nobody cares. In the end, nobody cares. Who cares, right? Here's something that did happen, though, that was reported that I do happen to care about, because it does have potentially ramifications, not just for the person that was involved, but for wrestling in general across the state. Now, we all know by now that the New York State Athletic Commission has changed a lot of rules regarding professional wrestling. There are certain things that you may have been able to get away with before, you can't kind of get away with now. For example, things like so-and-so wrestling presents so-and-so wrestling, sharing of the licenses kind of thing, that type of stuff. So I'm curious to see how a lot of the companies are going to really go about doing that. But, if let's just say Terry, for example, if he renewed his, obviously he renewed his license, but if he renewed his license and also submitted a DBA as doing business as Nickel City Wrestling, because I think that's the legal method that you have to go about it. But I digress from that. It's not so much the show and what I thought about it personally from what I was able to read from the results that were coming to me from my correspondent that was there, my unofficial correspondent, which I thank you, by the way. It was the tables match situation. A match with TNA's Jesse Neal against Venomous in a tables match, which, first of all, to start a feud with a tables match seems very silly to me anyways. I'm not sure who wrote that garbage, but I mean, you don't have a TV show, I guess, so all logic is really thrown out the window, I guess. It's just an attraction, if you will. But here's the kicker to it. Somehow or another, I didn't actually read the whole thing, but I know that the Canadian Thriller, a.k.a. Uncle Chris to the rest of us, he was inserted and involved in that match somehow, and he took a spear, reportedly, through a table. Mind you, this is 2 weeks after his most recent neck surgery that he posted about on Facebook. He had neck surgery, and 2 weeks later, he's going through a table at Nickel City Wrestling. Now, it was rumored as well that there wasn't insurance there, that they weren't going to be getting insurance, or there was going to be some kind of workaround or whatever. I'm not sure. But the general idea was that there was not insurance for the show, and that was reported by multiple sources close to the situation. I'm not sure what Uncle Chris does in the shoot life, and if he has good insurance or whatever, but the unbelievable risk that comes with that particular practice. At what point do you say to yourself, it's not worth it? It's not worth the long-term health risks for short-term glory. Whether or not you're under the Nickel City banner, or you're under the UW banner, or you're under the 2CW banner, or whatever banner you are. This is where the real side of me comes in and says you need to start thinking smart. Uncle Chris is, I think, in his late 40s. He's not a young man in wrestling. Right? He's a young man in the game of life, grand scheme of things. But in the professional wrestling world, he's not young. He's not 18, 19, 20, 21, just getting his feet wet. He's taken quite a few bumps. He's been doing crazy shit since I started. To be 2 weeks removed from a neck surgery and go through a table, and I'm sure he gave his consent, and he said he was comfortable with it, and I could do it, man. I could do it, I just think it's really stupid to do it, just for the sake of doing it, just for the sake of pleasing the one or two people that may be totally paying attention in the crowd. All for what? For what, Chris? I've ribbed you about it online, but I'm being serious now. What if? I hate to live in the world of what ifs, but somebody had to have thought back there, what if? Whatever surgical procedure he had done on his neck, what if a screw came loose? What if he re-damaged it? What if? How shitty would any one of you have felt? I mean, okay, maybe he signed a waiver saying he's not going to hold anybody accountable. That ain't going to hold him in the court of law. If he really wanted to sue you, he could have. But I digress. At what point do we start thinking normally? Thinking about health, thinking about other people's health, thinking about long-term effects, instead of trying to silence the JCs and the Ashes and the Threads of the world and prove everybody wrong, brother, right? I've heard the excuse, well, he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. Well, it's your fucking show. So you're the boss. You can make those decisions. You have absolute authority to say, no, I do not want you going through a table. Do not go through a table on my show. You will not be used on my show if you do such a thing. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the way it's been all the time with these carny promoters and these Indian shindy workers and these Indian shindy feds. There's very few good ones that will absolutely be like, no, it's not happening. You're not doing it. Most promoters just more or less want ticket sales, so they don't care. You get your ticket sales, then yeah, sure, do whatever you want to do. Here's a Royal Rumble spot. Here's a quick spot. You go through a table with Jesse Neal. Get your ticket sales. But Uncle Chris is local to Rochester. He's not even local to Buffalo, so I doubt he's selling tickets to anybody to drive all the way out to Buffalo to see him manage. 2 weeks removed from a neck surgery. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what's the point? What was the point? You could have seriously gotten hurt. And this is not bitter JC, the anti-UW asshole talking. This is JC. This is John Cimino, a guy who's actually friends with Uncle Chris, actually likes Uncle Chris, actually respects Uncle Chris because Uncle Chris gave him his props and didn't treat rookie JC Money like an asshole in the beginning. He welcomed him like family. Deep down, I mean, Uncle Chris is a really good guy. And a lot of people take advantage of him, I think. And he lets them. He lets them do it because he wants to live out his dream. He wants to keep going. It just was a horribly planned thing, a terribly stupid move on all parties. And thankfully, I haven't heard anything about him being hurt by it. I haven't heard anything about it. I heard from what I understand, no news is good news, and that he went through the table and everything was fine as far as he goes, but he got lucky there. Because it just as easily could have gone the other way. And then what would have happened? What would the talk have been? What would the first Nickel City show be remembered by? So that's the point. That was the point, I think, that Ash was getting at when he posted on his wall and when others followed. But now you take it one step further. You're running a show that doesn't really have insurance. You're putting somebody out there 2 weeks after a neck surgery to go through a table. He gets hurt. What happens? NYSAC gets notified. People come down on NYSAC about it. NYSAC starts investigating, finds that UW is once again not playing by the rules. Now there's the ramifications for I'm sure that the ambulance wasn't there either. Although I guess it's the new year now, so the new year now for the New York State Athletic Commission. So, but it was an ambulance on site. Had something happened to Chris with his neck, 2 weeks removed from his neck surgery. Had something happened to Chris, 2 weeks removed. Was there an ambulance on site? I sure as hell hope so. But then, of course, comes the sympathizers, the people that sympathize with the UWs and the Nickel Cities and all that. You know, like every negative freaking comment that comes out, whether justified or not, it's always got to be about something else. It can't ever be about what it is, which is the fact that a man and an older guy from 2 weeks removed from a neck surgery is going through a table. It can't ever be about that. It has to be about the fact that we're just being dickheads and we just don't care. It has to be done with malice. Like, we don't have souls. Like, we can't care about somebody else. We can't care about whether or not, somebody's health and well-being is being thought of and planned out and whatever. From somebody we know and we've known for a long time. So naturally comes the shit talkers. And the emotions and the drama. The people that's the thing is the drama. The people that they say they don't want to be involved in the drama. They can't stand the drama. They don't look for the drama. Yet you motherfuckers go looking for it. You go looking for it. Broham. And then you find it, and then it comes back in your face like, hey, really? This is what you think? Well, how about this? Blocked. Whatever. That's fine. I don't care, honestly, because I know everybody listens anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Grand scheme of things, Facebook isn't life. And I've said that for a while. And that if anybody that, I was friends with wants to reach out, there's ways they could reach out to me. You don't need to be Facebook friends with me. That's fine. I don't care. The fake people act holier than thou and want you to share in their opinions. And when you don't, oh man, you're chastised. But I can go through examples with every single one of those fake-ass motherfuckers where they have shit-talked all of their so-called family, brothers, sisters, whatever. I could go through it all day, but I don't. The fact of the matter is, people, if you're sick and tired of people like me calling out the negatives of this area, which now with the new rules in place can have an adverse effect on the good in this area. If you're tired of me doing it, you have several options, several different things that you can do to change. One, You can live in your little bubble, like you usually do, and ignore or block or say that JC's an asshole or whatever. Okay? You can work to change it. You can join me and you can start asking the questions and you can start getting a little more informed and you can start going to these shows and saying, hey, this doesn't make sense because of, this guy just had surgery or whatever. You can make that change, but you don't. And that's I think the saddest thing of all. Is that you're living under this thing that wrestling is fun. Oh, bro, it's fun for me. It's fun. Why do you have to ruin my fun? Why do you have to ruin my fun? What are you, a fucking 10-year-old? Why do you have to ruin my fun? Fuck your fun, dude. Seriously, fuck your fun. Something terrible could have happened. Thankfully, it did not. But something terrible could have happened. And that's with people that don't have a decent amount of common fucking sense running the show, running these shows, booking people that are less intelligent than they are. Nobody asks questions. I can tell you right now, if I got that form at Nickel City, I went there and I got that form, that stupid form, I wouldn't be signing that shit. You kidding me? I mean, I have great health insurance anyways, but I wouldn't be signing that shit. I wouldn't be signing any of that. Only thing I'm signing is a contract that states how much money I'm making. Not a contract that states, essentially, I'm not going to hold you responsible if I get hurt because you don't have insurance. Fuck that. So, again, to recap it here, because I'm going to go home with this podcast real soon. To recap it here, work smart, not stupid. Promote smart, not stupid. And if you can't stand what I'm saying, there's the two ways I already mentioned that you can work to change it. You can, one, continue to just ignore and block and talk shit, which is the easiest choice. Or the second choice, which requires the most effort, but y'all are lazy, so you don't like actually working hard and doing anything, or anything that involves logic. You can actually work to change it. You can use your brains that you were born with, and you can stand up and say, "Hey, you know what? I don't agree with this. I don't think. Look at his neck. Look at this person's injury. Look at this person. I don't think that going through the table is the smartest thing. How about this? Use your brains." Also, not for nothing, Shadowcat was in the main event. I called that shot. Long before it actually happened, but whatever. It ended up being, from what I was able to tell, the same old song and dance in that area, just a different brand, a different name. So whatever. Their next show is in December. Best of luck. Hope it works out. Don't do anything stupid, please. I feel like in the last episode of the JC Money podcast, I asked respectfully. I asked for Nickel City to please prove me wrong. And if that first show was any indication, well, I'll be right for a very, very long time. All right, this has been the JC Money Podcast. I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate you tuning in, and to all the other podcasts that we have, especially the Football Talk podcast. That has seen a wonderful jump, and I appreciate that. Misguided Musings, Turnbuckle Talk Radio, Get Ready America. Thanks for tuning in to all of them, man. I appreciate it. And I think I'm going to stop by IWF in November. It's the next show. It's the next show they have there. I think I'm going to stop by and say what's up. Maybe record a couple interviews. Who do you want me to interview? Who wants to be interviewed on the next JC Money podcast? Mark House, I already owe you one, so don't worry. You're gold there. But who else? I don't know. Let me know. But until the next time, this is John Cimino, a.k.a. JC Money, saying so long, everybody. Don't book shindy. Don't work shindy. Work smart. Don't work stupid. Good night now.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.